I was supposed to be married to my boyfriend of 3 years a month ago, but my stepsister thought it would be fun to propose to my fiancé on my wedding day. Joanna, 25F, and I are stepsisters. My mom passed away when a fire broke out at her workplace. My dad got a call from the hospital, and when he reached there he got the news of mom's demise. There he met my stepmom, who was also there by the news of her husband's demise. Her husband worked in the same company as mom. Dad and stepmom connected over their grief. They soon started hanging out at each other's place and outside. Joanna and I are of the same age. We were 3 when this happened. Since we are of the same age, people used to ask our parents if we were twins. Dad and stepmom played along and said yes, we are not identical twins. In fact, they told us the same thing, that we were twins until we were 12. Joanna and I shared a good sibling bond until our parents revealed the truth to us. After that, Joanna got distant from me and grew resentful of me. She in fact turned into a soft bully. I mean, she joined forces with the children who bullied me at school. Though we were of the same age, Joanna was stronger than me and could handle bully really well. She was more towards the extrovert side and I am a nerdy introvert. Joanna was not an outright bully but definitely toxic and mean. She would pass sarcastic comments at me for my poor dressing sense and communication skills. Our parents tried to enforce a civil relationship between us, if not friendship. No matter how much they tried, we just couldn't bond. She would try to boss around and I would push back. The situation was neutralized only after I moved out, which was quite early. I moved out when I was 15. After that, we only met twice a year when I went home during breaks. She moved out when she was 20 and after that, we met only twice in the last 5 years. Similar to our nature, we chose our professions. I'm a lab technician at a research institute and she's a flight attendant. All this doesn't matter. The fact that she is gorgeous and better groomed than me is all that matters to men. Nick, 27M, and I have been seeing each other for 3 years. Last fall, Nick went down on his knees and asked me to marry him. I screamed a yes because why not? I loved him so dearly. He was the most precious thing in my life. This spring we planned our wedding. When it comes to planning an event, I am not so good at it. So when Joanna requested that she wanted to plan it for me, I couldn't be happier. I let her take the lead. I am sure something would have happened during the planning that sparked their relationship because they had not met before. 2 months ago, we had our engagement and there we announced our wedding. That was the first time Joanna had met Nick. Nick was my only proper boyfriend. Introverts and relationships are not a good combination. Nick seemed different. He was ready to invest in a meaningful long relationship. So, after dating for 3 years when he proposed, I was elated. He wanted to marry right away, but I wanted a spring wedding, so we delayed it this far. I didn't tell anyone about my plans until this January, when we sent out an invite for our engagement. The day after our engagement, Joanna calls me and asks if she could plan my wedding. I was shocked because we didn't have good bonding while growing up. She said she wants to make up for her behavior. I said that's okay, you don't need to do this, we're not teenagers anymore. She said she wanted to do it because she has more time than me and she can pull her contacts to get us some thrilling discounts. I agreed because I have busy schedules. It was during the wedding preps that she started hitting on Nick. This is my theory though. I noticed some changes in Nick's behavior. I confronted him and he said it was due to work, he's not getting enough sleep. He was working late. That could be a lie. Might be busy and tired effing that whore. The day before the wedding, the event manager gave us the tour trail of the wedding arrangements. Joanna was with us. The event manager was her friend. That was the only time I noticed their closeness. She was giggling and talking to him as if they had known each other for ages. I had an eerie feeling and wanted to confront them right there, but then I stopped, thinking I might ruin the atmosphere. The wedding was next day and then Joanna would be out. It would be just me and Nick. So I let this slide. On the day of the wedding, I didn't see Joanna. I thought she must be busy outside taking care of the arrangements. When I was walking down the aisle, I saw her sitting in the corner. She looked sad. I didn't bother to think about her. That moment was not for me to think about her. I walked down. Nick was smiling, but he didn't seem to be as happy as I expected. His hands were sweaty. I asked him what happened. He said nothing, just a little nervous. As I was standing at the altar, I could see Joanna's downhearted face. She was sobbing. I got confused because we ain't that close that she would sob at my wedding. Plus it wasn't happy tears. She looked miserable, as if she hadn't slept in the night. The pastor began the process by asking if anyone had a reason to object to this wedding. To this, Joanna stood up and started crying profusely. All the eyes fell on her. I was frozen. I gestured at her what the hell she was doing? But she was not looking at me. She was glued to Nick. The pastor asked her the reason for her objection. She knelt down and joined her hands as if she was praying. She said she is madly in love with Nick and cannot see him getting married to anyone but her. I yelled at Joanna to stop. I rushed down the altar and screamed at her to stop this nonsense. Mom and Dad also stood up and tried to lift her up, but the damage was already done. This was still fine because Joanna has always been mean to me. I know she can go to any lengths to ruin my life. My world stopped when I looked back at Nick and he was also crying badly. He was sitting on the floor with his face buried in his palms. I rushed to him and asked him what's the matter. He didn't say anything. Joanna came running to him, lifted up his face from her hands, and said, "This is our last chance, Nick. You have to speak up. If not now, it's gonna be never. You'll be stuck to this woman. She's not gonna leave you easily." I pulled Joanna's arms and asked what was going on. "Is it some kind of prank? Then better stop because I'm not liking it." It was evident to everyone what was happening there. People were glued to the drama. They got hot topics to gossip about for a month. He wiped her tears with his sleeves, looked at me, and said, he had fallen in love with Joanna during the wedding preps. After listening to all this, I could not stand there. My legs were shaking so badly. It was beyond humiliation. I felt I was ripped naked in front of the crowd. Our parents chipped in and took us outside. We had already given enough gossip to the people. I was crying so badly that I couldn't even walk. Dad escorted me out while Joanna's mom was holding her arms and consoling her. Why on earth does she need to be consoled? Homewrecker. Nick and Joanna confessed to sleeping a week before the wedding. They decided to consider it to be one-time thing and move on, but they couldn't stop seeing each other. So Nick's late-night work was actually his cheating trip to Joanna's place. They in fact slept on the night before the wedding. Nick said Joanna was so gorgeous he just couldn't resist. I couldn't believe I was about to marry this scumbag. Though our parents were present, no one said a word. They preferred to remain neutral and stay out of it. I was done listening to their love story. So, I ran into the changing room to grab my bag and car keys to leave the place. I went inside and saw myself in the mirror wearing my wedding dress, and I cannot help but break down. I was having a severe meltdown. Then Joanna entered the room. I screamed at her to get out. She said, "Yes, I will get out of here soon because my would-be Nick is waiting for me outside." I called her slutty bitch. She laughed at this and said, "Yeah, even Nick calls me that on bed." I wanted to smack her for the filth she was spitting. She said, "How could you imagine that Nick would marry you after seeing my curvaceous body? Have you seen yourself? You look like flat tires, spongy, and your dressing sense just sucks. I wonder how Nick even fell for you in the first place. He is just too handsome for you." She slammed the door and left. I picked up myself and drove off the venue. On the way, I realized, where do I go? I have been living with Nick at his place. Surely, I can't go there. I called up my friend and asked her if I could stay with her for a few days until I put my life together. She gladly took me in. The next day I got a text from a Packers guy asking where my stuff needed to be shipped. Nick had hired a Packers company to get rid of my stuff. I was caught off guard because I had no place to keep my stuff. I called up Dad and he offered to let me use the garage to keep my stuff. Amidst the feeling of betrayal and pain, I was house hunting. My homies were my support system during this trauma. They helped me find a place, set up my stuff, and be there for me whenever I needed them. My friends have helped me enough to cope with this. I don't want to be more needy and scare them off. My wounds are still fresh and I need someone to hear me out. I have enrolled for therapy, but it is monthly once. Hence I am writing this post as a self-help therapy. Update 1. Thanks to the ones who tried to understand my situation. However, the ones commenting that it was my fault that I chose a cheater, how could I not see this coming? Why did I let Joanna plan my wedding? And other ridiculous questions. If anyone is going through a heartbreak, do you console them or do you go around grilling them, as if it was my fault that he cheated on me? I don't need to give any explanation to anyone. These answers are for those genuine questions on my post. People asked how I got so close to Joanna that I invited her to the engagement and let her plan my wedding. Joanna and I got into talking terms after I moved out of the house. I was not so keen on inviting Joanna to my engagement, but my dad wanted it to be a full family affair. Joanna was also not so interested in attending my engagement, but Dad said this was the first event in the family, so everyone had to be present. When it comes to planning the wedding, I have covered that bit in the initial post. I didn't have time and she had some contacts in the event management space. And everyone who is saying how could I not know my fiancé was a cheater. So to them, if everyone could really predict if their partners are cheaters or not, there wouldn't be any divorce in the world. Negative people are all around the world, few. But you know what, I don't care because you reap what you sow. Coming to the updates, Joanna and Nick got married last week at the same venue. Look at her audacity, she emailed me the invitation card. It was not an invite but a way to show that she got him. I ignored and blocked her. I showed it to Dad. He was the one advocating we are a family. Though I was pretending to be strong, I was tearing up from inside. My friends came over with drinks and tacos to cheer me up. I got badly wasted that night. To ease my pain, my friends suggested that I plan revenge on Joanna. They came up with some stupid and funny ones to lighten my mood. One of my friends was smoking up and an idea clicked in my mind. Joanna is a smoker, not cigarettes but weed. I know what you guys are thinking, who cares? Well, I don't, but her employer does. She's a flight attendant and she's not allowed to have any of those substances. It puts passengers' life at risk. Apparently, They are life saviors. Joanna and life savior, my ass. My friend and I wondered how she was not getting caught because the airlines run regular tests on their employees. One of my friends suggested that we tip off her employer and let them figure it out. I am not sure if it was going to work, but I decided to give it a shot. I had to do something to pull my revenge. I sent an anonymous mail to the airlines with Joanna's details that she has been smoking up during work hours. I got a reply that someone would reach out to me to get further details. The next day, I got a call and they asked for detailed information. I made it up and said I cannot disclose my identity, but a few days back when I was flying with their airlines, I found Joanna high on something and her eyes were red. I asked them to conduct their own investigation before sacking her. They thanked me and hung up. I have very low hopes that it would turn out in my favor because I didn't reveal my identity. They might consider this to be a hoax call, I don't know. Update 2. Hey there folks. I know it's been 2 years since. I wanted to detach myself from my past. So, I ignored updating here too, and eventually, I forgot about this. I was getting a lot of messages from people asking what happened after the complaint with the airlines. So, here's all the update you need. After complaining about Joanna to her employer, I had a mixed feeling that I shouldn't have ripped off her livelihood. I mean, it takes two people to cheat. It was Nick's fault too. Eventually, I started moving on thinking that I got rid of a cheater, better before the wedding than later. I took a transfer to a different city to start a new life. Almost 2 years later, which was last month, I got a call from Dad. He wanted to meet me. I didn't want to, but he said he was in town, so I agreed. He said he needed my help with Joanna. Like what? He told me that Joanna had lost her job because someone tipped off her employer that she was smoking up during work hours. They did a random test and she was caught. Upon being grilled, she confessed that she had been fooling the authorities for many years. She had contacts in the lab department who would manipulate her test results and make them clean. She basically used to sleep with that testing guy. These charges not only cost her job but also her profession. No airline is now going to hire her after this. The airlines didn't report her to the cops because it would have damaged their reputation. My tip-off worked, but now I didn't care. I had moved on. When Nick got to know about all this, he lost his mind. She tried to save her ass by saying she was being framed by her colleagues because people were jealous of her good performance. I sighed. On the bed? Sure. Nick tried to stick around for a while, but she got herself wasted in alcohol and other substance. He left her eventually. She lost her job and her husband too. She borrowed money from Dad to rent a place for herself, but instead of getting a place for herself, she wasted that money in partying. She was living on her friend's couch who informed Dad about Joanna's condition before throwing her out. Dad brought her home and took her to rehab. He is claiming that she has gotten better and now wants to restart her life. Dad wanted me to check with my contacts and get her an office job. I refused to help her in any way. Dad was disappointed that I turned him down, but he said he understood. After he left, my guilty conscience kicked in. No one knows that I was one who got her sacked. I don't know what to do. Update 3. This is probably going to be the last update because I am done with this saga and want to move on. I helped my sister get a job and made it even. Call it whatever, but I felt nice after helping her. However, no one can help a self-destructor. I got her a job at a publishing house. She started stealing the books and selling them at a black market at a cheap. She was caught and thrown away. My friend was about to report her, but I talked her out of this, saying that it would bring down the reputation of the publication house. Dad has given up on Joanna and kicked her out of the house. Now, she's on her own. God knows what she is doing with her life. This Christmas I went back to my hometown to meet my friends. I visited home, but only for an hour. During the mass, I bumped into Nick. He was right beside me. The hallway was so crowded that we were forced to walk together. He said hello to me and we got into a conversation. I tried to be mature and spoke to him politely. While leaving the church, he approached again and asked me for a few minutes. We went aside and he said sorry. He said sleeping with Joanna was the worst mistake, and then to rectify one, he committed another by marrying her. She was guilt-tripping him that he used her physically, so he thought he should do the right thing and marry her. I said, it's fine, I have moved on. He asked me if I was okay to accompany him to an art gallery the next day. I had no other plans, so I said yes. It was a normal visit. We hung out like friends and none of us made a move. The same night I came back home. My phone was discharged during the travel. When I switched on the phone, there were 20+ messages from Nick. It was all about, did you reach safely? Text me after reaching, I miss you, when can we meet next? I saw all of them and ignored them. The next few days were the same. He was constantly checking on me. He said he was missing me and wished we could get back together. Then ultimately I told I had moved on and didn't want to keep in touch with him. He said if I was not interested, why did I go to art gallery with him? I said, dude, grow up. It didn't mean anything. His ego kicked in and he hung up the call. A week later, I got a call at 2 a.m. in the night. I picked up thinking it might be some emergency. Nick was there on the other side. He said nothing serious, just wanted to check on you. I was yelling at him when my boyfriend, who was sleeping next to me, took the phone and gave him the piece of his mind. My boyfriend is a sleep enthusiast and he would bring wrath on anyone who disturbed his sweet slumber. I won't repeat what he said, but after that day, Nick never bothered me. He understood that I had actually moved on. I didn't tell Nick that I had a boyfriend. I didn't feel the need to inform him. He's no one to me. I don't want to talk much about my current boyfriend. Don't want to jinx that again. All I want to say is I'm glad Nick found solace in Joanna. Because of his cheating, I got someone so much better. Heartbreak is never the end. I am gonna delete this post after a few days. I wanted to give closure to all those sweet people who have been checking on me. Thank you for all the love. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Older boyfriend pressured me into a threesome with my hot friend. He ignored me the whole time for her, and I later found out he's been engaged to another woman for years. I know I'm probably gonna get people yelling at me that I should have never agreed to it and that this is my fault, but I mean, when you have your 18F boyfriend, 23M, pestering and badgering you for months, sometimes you just give in to it. We had the threesome about 2 weeks ago and I've just been, I don't know. I feel so ugly and like I'm not enough. I think I enjoyed it in the moment? I don't know, but now I'm just done. My best friend is so pretty and just everything I'm not. She's tall, blonde and athletic. Has the perfect face. I love her, she's amazing. I'm short, black hair and I'm not fat, I'm just bustier and have thick thighs. Even when I was underweight, I just looked like a stick with tits and too big of an ass. I've always wanted liposuction or something just to get rid of the excess fat. But I just keep replaying it in my head. He had so much fun with her and even forgot about me at times. I'm just not enough for him. Now every time he messages me, I don't get excited. Or when he tries to touch or kiss me, I just shrug him off. Whenever he holds me while we're in bed, I just get nauseous. I really wish I was enough, but I just never am, cause every man I'm with always wants more. Wants somebody else. I'm just done and needed to vent, I'm sorry. Comments where Op has replied, another aloe. Are you and your friend both 18? Because this guy sounds real questionable. I mean, also, if anyone is badgering you for anything regarding sex, that's coercion, so yeah, I'm very happy you are leaving him. You are enough. He's just taking advantage of the fact that you're young and maybe he preyed on your insecurities. Oop, my best friend is 21. Another aloe, how long have you known the two of them? Oop, I've known my best friend for about 5-ish years. And I've known my BF since I was 17? I think. We only started dating shortly after I turned 18. Yeah, no, wait, why did she agree? Oop, I'd how to explain this, but she has a sex bucket list and has always wanted to have a threesome. She was iffy at first, but I think he convinced her it was okay and nothing would be different or change. Far_comfort 4460, you wrote during the threesome your BF was with your BFF more than you to the point he excluded you from the threesome. Did she do the same? Or did she try to include you? Did you guys talk about how you felt after the threesome? How is your friendship with her now? Is everything normal with her? Do you feel the dynamics have changed between your BF and BFF? Like their relationship and how they interact with one another has changed as well? Is your BF back to normal? Has he noticed how you have changed and how you feel about the threesome? Communication is key in a relationship, and if this keep bugging you, it's time to move on. Oop, she included me more than he did to the point he got a little frustrated. She was openly trying to involve me and he was just ignoring her. I've told her how I felt. She told me she understands why and how she even felt a little weird about it afterwards. Honestly, I feel like we're okay. I mean, she's seen me naked before. I've seen her naked. Like all that's changed is we've now been sexually intimate, but other than that she still feels like the same old friend I've had. He's kind of become more and more infatuated with her, I guess. He's texting her more, asking me to text her from my phone for him to relay messages, talking about her moving in with us, etc., but she's blocked him and told me she doesn't feel right with the way he's behaving. He's noticed and all he's complained about is how I haven't had sex with him since that night. He asked me if I was jealous and when I said no he said okay, so why won't you touch me? So he's noticed, but he's just more upset I won't have sex with him. I know communication is important, but I just feel kind of worried about telling him how I feel. It's stupid, I know. Alarmed_links_7148, time to be single for a bit and work on yourself. You are only 18. You have enough time to do just that. Surina, no surprise that the 23-year-old dude convinced his 18-year-old girlfriend to do something sexual that she didn't want to do. Valskanize_, weird power dynamic coercion. It hurts to see. No Mango 8923, congratulations in discovering who he really is before you get more committed in the relationship. Badgering you for something you clearly didn't want to do is such a big red flag. He doesn't give a damn about you or your feelings, needs, wants. He just wanted a legitimate reason to shag your friend. How is it between you and your friend now? You are good enough, more than good enough for the right person. He is not that person. Get out now before he destroys your self-worth even further. That girl Waplays AC, never measure your worth by what a man wants. You are so young, but in time you will learn. Update, I broke up with him. I found out he had another girlfriend whom he has been dating since 2020. She lives in a different city for college, the same city his sister lives in. So every time he was visiting his sister, which was weekly, he was visiting his actual girlfriend/fiancé. I was basically filling her spot until she graduated to Mao. And they are basically engaged. I'm so hurt and distraught right now. I'm staying with one of my friends. I blocked him on everything and just want to move on. I'm so fucking upset and hurt right now. I feel so ugly and used. I feel like the worst person in the world for hurting another woman. You really can't trust anybody, because while he was making me all these promises of marrying me and loving me, he was doing the same to her. I really don't think I'll ever be able to fully trust another SO after this. Thanks to all the kind commenters. I appreciate you. Less than 3 comments. Jackamus01, did you tell his other GF? Flaky artist Sop, no, because I promised I wouldn't if he promised not to upload certain videos and pictures to a certain website after he threatened to do so. Jack Ari6, you need to call the cops and let them know he is blackmailing you, and then let the other girl know. This is absolutely not okay. When dudes cry, do you have the messages where he said this? You need to go to the police, then tell her. Oop, I tried going to the police, but they told me I needed a lawyer and I can't afford one. SR4F, I will be retaining my butt virginity. Most likely he is, yeah, but depending on where Oop lives, there may not be much she can do about it. Also, she's just 18, poor thing. Matcha Magpie, I'm begging people to stop having threesomes when they don't actually want to have a threesome. The one shining light on this mess is that Oop found out her ex is cheating, so she can at least completely move on with her life. Hope she is able to tell his fiancé. She deserves to know what a pig he is.